Jessies Place is the Citrus County Children's Advocacy Center. We created the corporation in 2006. It was a grassroots effort of child protective professionals that came together to decide to bring a child advocacy center to Citrus County to serve our children.
We're a multidisciplinary team, the forensic interviewing, any of the referrals if we have to make referrals out. We have the advocates here who also help provide services or find us services that we need. My role is to provide evidence-based, trauma-focused interventions. I provide individualized therapy. I also use creative therapies as well, and I work with children to reduce their symptoms related to the traumas that they have suffered.
We named the center after Jessica Lunsford, who was a victim of homicide here in our community. Everyone in our community was deeply impacted by the loss of such a young child, so we wanted to honor her memory, and we named our facility after her.
Often the families that we see, this is a new experience for them. I attend court with them, either virtually or in person, to support them and give the courts an update as to what's going on. Generally, families find it very helpful. The court finds it helpful that somebody from Jessie's Place is present to give an update. So I think our advocacy services are very helpful to both the families and the children and other professionals we interact with.
We tend to see on average of about 500 new kids every year, and we average 80 to 85, not necessarily children, but 80 to 85 clients in our therapy program. Here in our center, in our child-friendly facility, we actually partner with our multidisciplinary team members. We have members of the Child Protection Team from the University of Florida located in our facility here. We partner with law enforcement, with DCF, several of our community-based care providers to provide a comprehensive response to allegations of child abuse.
Before Jessie's Place was here, it's like, what resource do you reach out to? Our school social workers are wonderful, but our office lines will get phone calls about, hey, I have this concern. It's just their presence in the community and throughout the community. I know lots of grandparents and extended family members and even children are very thankful, and they've expressed that to us because they didn't know where else they would turn at times.
It's very effective with a one interview type stance, and our interviews are recorded here, and they supply us with that recording. And then if any other law enforcement agency or a lawyer, anybody needs to see that to know what the child said, that we don't have to ask this child question after question after question over and over again and re-traumatize the child. So the fact that they can come here to Jessie's Place and receive all the treatments in one place, mostly all in one day to get set up for counseling, is very effective in not exposing the child to continuous trauma or reliving the trauma that they've already experienced.
Whenever we get an investigation, we have mandatory criteria that would result in a call to Jessie's Place. And at that moment, we would call them, do an intake, and set up an appointment date and time for a child to be interviewed or have a medical exam. Like sexual abuse, physical abuse of a child, medical neglect, human trafficking, a lot of those serious cases.
I usually describe Jessie's Place as having two sides to our house. We have the front side of our house, which is our investigative services. So when there's a new allegation of abuse, DCF or law enforcement will refer that child, that family over to CPT, to the Child Protection Team. So the Child Protection Team is located in our facility. They get the benefit of having trained forensic interviewers and trained medical personnel. The back side to our house is our supportive services. That's our advocacy and our therapy. Once a child has come in for their initial services, then we transition them to our support services. And our advocates may work with that child and that family for years. The only one that determines when a child is discharged from our mental health program is the therapist. Because it's all grant funded, that child is there until they have reached their therapy goals. And as they grow and they mature in life and their perspective on life changes, they're always eligible to come back. We also provide individual services to caregivers because sometimes the child's trauma can trigger a parent's their own trauma history. So we provide counseling services to the caregivers and parents.
One of the main things I'm involved in is educating our middle schoolers on human trafficking, different forms of abuse, and some of the resources that they have at their disposal to deal with those situations if they find themselves in them. People sometimes, when they hear about human trafficking or they hear about abuse and different things like that, they don't think it's happening here in their community, but it is, unfortunately. The good news is that there are resources out there to get people out of those situations.
You can see it in our community where you talk to somebody and you say, I work for Jessie's Place, and they go, Oh, and so they kind of light up and they have a little more confidence because we are well respected and we do work well within our community and with other providers.
Our services are free, our services are not managed by insurance or Medicaid, and they're available to all families, regardless of their ability to pay. We're located in Lecanto, which is in the heart of Citrus County. Our offices are open standard business hours, 8 to 5. Our website is jessiesplacecitrus.org, and we have information about our services, information about our board, information about our greatest needs, and of course upcoming events and special happenings going on here at Jessies Place. Even if you can only make a small contribution, it can add up to much bigger dollars. If not for us, many of those children wouldn't be able to access any services. And the community mental health services that are available in Citrus County, there's a backlog, there's a wait list. There's just not sufficient services. So without us, those who have the greatest need would go untreated.